Jerrell and Antwuan. How are y'all?
How you doing?
Good. How
Good.
are you?
We got to get all up in y'all's business because that's what we do over here. And we got to start by asking the question that we ask everybody, and that is, how long have y'all been together, and how did y'all first meet?
So we met back in 2008 in Orlando, Florida, through a mutual friend. We just became homeboys. We stayed in touch throughout the years, and then 2013, I happened to move to New York. He had already been here the summer of 2012, and we kind of reconnected and became best friends. Me, him, and my best friend from undergrad. So it was the three of us, the three Stooges. We hung tight. Once you see one, you see another. That was 2013 to 2015.
No.
Okay. So 2013, 2015, things kind of transpired between us, escalated between us, but we were like, no, we're friends. We're going to keep the friendship first. And we kept it that way from 2015, 2018. And then the summer of 2018, like I always wanted to be around him. Like I saw him as more than a friend. So I was like, I want to be with you. He was like, Twan, stop, get out of my face. Because he know me, we had been best friends for so long. So he was like, your actions will show me. So once I told our mutual best friend, which was hard because it was the three of us all together all the time, and he had no idea about, this new beginning of us. Once I told him, he knew like, okay, he was for real. So we got together 9/22/18. We were together for 2 years. We had a double proposal on my birthday in January of 2020. And then we got married 9/22/22 last year.
Now, Jerrell, you got to give us the other part of that story. What was it like on your end?
When you're somebody's best friend or you're somebody's like close friend, you get to know all there is to know about them, right? And so you get to know like the good and also like what they got in trouble for in their other relationships. And so when he came and he was like, I want to be with you, my idea was like, boy, I know you for your games. like what are you talking about? So that's where the whole like, you got to prove this to me comes into play, because I knew the things that he got in trouble for in his past loves. And he knew the things that I got in trouble for in my past loves, right? And so that's one thing about being best friends. You don't really hide that from each other. And then you go into a relationship kind of knowing that already. It's like, all right, here we are.
Right.
I think I was flattered when he said he wanted to be with me, but like caught off guard. So I was like apprehensive a little bit because I had been through some things already. And so like I had kind of swore off relationships. Like I had already started thinking about doing things just on my own. And then here comes Twan talking about let's be together. And so it kind of just changed the way that I thought about things going forward.
Friendship is the basis here. So let's talk about friendship, because that's a line that a lot of people are afraid to cross.
People that I talk to, they're oftentimes like, oh, I can't do that with my best friend just because that's my best friend. And so instead of thinking about the things that you can't do, imagine the possibilities of like what can be, because the basis of any relationship is like any good relationship is friendship. In friendship comes communication and trust. Friendships are like tried and true because they've lasted the test of time, right? And so think about the things that, as for me, I thought about like the things that could be, and they kind of outweighed the fears that I had about going into a relationship with my best friend. I mean, yes, I feel like in instances, and we both felt this way at different points in time, but you feel like you lose your best friend, but you gain your best friend in a different like level. So you're losing your best friend because you ain't gonna call them on the phone talking about
What you
the
doing?
ins and outs and stuff like that, like what you did last night and who you're not gonna talk about those things. Where you going? I mean, it's really whatever the relationship is, but think about all of the possibilities of what could be.
Okay. And Antwuan?
Once I started having those feelings in 2018, like I was thinking about him more than as a friend. Like I was like, I really like Jerrell. Like I really want to be with Jerrell. And I was like, I don't know why this is happening all of a sudden, but the feelings were stronger and stronger. So I was willing to take that chance. But I know then, like, I didn't want to talk to nobody else. I didn't want to like try to start anything with anybody else. I was going to convince him or show him that, this is what I really wanted. So I have.
And I'm an easy say. I'm a hard sell. I should say I'm a hard sell. It takes a lot to convince me.
He make it easy.
I know what I want, and I know what I stand for.
So knowing each other's past, the relationship histories, and that sort of thing, did that make y'all kind of wary of engaging, or how did that help y'all start to navigate the relationship?
It made it easier a little bit because I know what I'm dealing with. When I know what I'm dealing with, I can like plan for it proactively, and whatever that means for the relationship. And so I'm not gonna, like I said, I know the good things that he did. I know the not so great things that he did. So we're gonna have those conversations up front, understanding where each of us like stands, what are the non-negotiables about these things, and kind of go forward from there. So I think for me it was better. I hope it was better for you.
Yeah, it was definitely better for me. Jerrell is, as a friend, he was always someone there that was there for me. I felt most comfortable with, that I can communicate things with as a friend. Of course, in a relationship, it took me a while to better my communication because now he was my partner now. So, some things that we have to discuss was a little difficult for me because I wasn't the best communicator in the beginning, but I knew that I had someone that was patient, that had my best intentions in mind. Like, I know that he had my best intentions in mind as a friend. I know that he had my best intentions in mind as a partner. So I think that's what made me most comfortable with the transition. And he was always just someone that I know that always had my back.
Considering the history of your relationships, and I know especially Jerrell was like he was done. So do you think having the foundation of a friendship before helped make this relationship more successful than the previous one?
So in a relationship, whenever you start dating somebody, you always put forward like what I call your best you. And that's why the honeymoon phase is so much fun, because you're putting forward your best you. You're doing all of the things that you have to do or you feel you need to do to like make the bond grow or to make them like you. As your best friend, especially or even friends, we were friends and then best friends, and it went from there. You don't really go into it with that. Like you show who you truly are. And who you truly are is who a person should want to get to know. Like, it's that person that I want to see and I want to get to like be closer with. Don't show me your best self, because your best self is going to go away in about 3 or 4 months typically. And then now I'm stuck with whoever.
Right.
And so that's kind of like how I felt about it. Like, it made it better. It made it better because I trusted him.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully this question isn't too personal, because I know we like to get in your business, but not all the way up in it. But a part of friendship, for instance, with my best friend, I would never date my best friend. I love him. He cute, but no. So with that element being in there, where does the passion come in?
The passion kind of progressed over the years. Like, it went from, we was low key liking each other, and then I would stay with him on the weekends because I lived in the Bronx, and so we spent a lot of time together, just him and I, on the weekends. So we would see different sides of each other, and you get a little curious in your mind, and things progress, and over time it just keep progressing, and then bam, here we are. If you pick up what I'm putting down.
No, I pick it up. And y'all be over there putting it down. So that's y'all. Okay. So let's talk about the other nuances of the relationship. What are some of y'all biggest challenges, and how have y'all managed to overcome them?
I wasn't the best communicator. Like, if something was bothering me, I would just shut down. I didn't know how to verbalize it. I wasn't comfortable verbalizing it. And Jerrell is a big communicator. And it wasn't until he told me, because you know how somebody be like, what's wrong? You be like, nothing, I'm fine. At the end of the day, I can't pull that with him because he knows me. Like, we've been friends, so he knows when my energy is off. He knows when I'm feeling a certain type of way. And one day he told me, he was like, when you say that nothing is wrong and something really is wrong, I feel like you're insulting my intelligence. And I was like, dang, I don't never want to make him feel like that. So that kind of got to, when something was wrong, he'd be like, something is wrong. I would go to, yeah, something is wrong, but I don't want to talk about it now. And that went to, something is wrong, a little bit of what's the issue, and then now it's like, hey, this is what's on my mind. Can we talk about it real quick? We talk about it and we move forward. But it took me a while to get to that point because he was extremely patient because I didn't get there overnight. Like, he was patient and he would tell me, like, if something is wrong, just be like, you don't want to talk about it now, or you don't have the right words. It was a lot of coaching and guiding me with it, but I don't want to say coaching and guiding, but he helped me become a better communicator.
And for Jerrell.
So at the time I was a teacher of students, right? So now I don't teach students anymore, but I'm still in education. But patience was probably my biggest like challenge, because like he said, I had to be very patient with this communication. I am just really big on communication. I didn't grow up communicating, but I like built in, I practice it enough, right? And so it's easier for me to kind of say what I feel when I feel it. And so in my mind, I'm like, you need to say what's going on. You need to say what's going on. And I'm patient with students. I'm not as patient with adults. And so I had to work to become more patient with adults, because in a lot of ways, if you don't learn the thing, then you're not equipped with the skills no matter what age you are. So I guess we are all just like grown students, if you will. So that was something I had to like work really hard on.
When it comes to Black gay men, what are some of our biggest challenges when it comes to love and relationships, and what would be your advice to other Black gay men when it comes to navigating some of those challenges?
I guess for me, I can speak to it like what I like held on to for so long. Since I was young, I was gay from a very young age. My uncle Stanley tells the story about how I came out to him when I was like in the 6th grade. And so I had this idea of like doing everything straight just with a man. And so the traditional relationship, the traditional family, just instead of a woman, I would have like a man be a part of my family. And so I held on to that idea of like the traditional idea of relationship with a man for many years. And it doesn't really work because he's not a woman. And
right.
So things are going to be different. I'm not going to always be the leader. I'm not going to always be the decider. We're definitely not going to have a traditional sex life, because that's just not what it's like panned out to be. And so you have to be open to like the different possibilities and what that means between the two people, because that's all that really matters, is whatever you all decide. As long as you come together and you decide on that thing together, it'll be all right.
I think I would say the same thing. Be open to evolving together. Nothing stays the same. So the way that you guys may start off in a relationship, it may be different 2 months in a relationship, or maybe 2 years in a relationship. Just have an open mind to know that your partner is going to change. You are going to change. Don't take it personal of the changes that your partner is having. Communicate it. If it's something that you're not used to, or it throws off your energy, then you express that instead of harboring those feelings in and maybe internalize it to blaming yourself when it has nothing to do with you at all. It may be just they're evolving as a person and things change within a relationship. So I would say, just be open to change and evolving together within the relationship.
Jerrell, you brought something up that I think we should talk about more, and that's 2 men in a relationship. When you got 2 men, let's talk about some of the challenges that exist with that.
Ooh. So I think, well, I'm gonna go one way, and then you steer me down as specific as you want to get. But I think that in a relationship or in anything, right, you have strengths and you have weaknesses. And so you have to be open to allowing the other person to you got to be vulnerable enough to like sit back a little bit on the things that you're weak on, and allow that other person to pick up that slack, and vice versa. Pride really has no place in the relationship. Like it doesn't really come from a place of like, I'm the man, I do this. I'm the man, I can do this. I'm the man, I should do this. At that point, like, you all should be thinking about each other. And really the only thing that should be, we did this. Like, I don't know. Like I just, you got to let go of that pride. That ego it kills us all.
Antwuan.
Some people ask, well, who's the man and who's the woman? I'm like, we're both men. We're both the husband. There's no specific gender roles that we try to divide up on whoever's doing what. We are in this together. Like, it's a bond that we have, and we're equal. There's no one who is more dominant than the other. We're in this together.
One that's more dominant than the other. Like, we're both still men, no matter what role I play in the bedroom, has no reflection on who I am outside of our sex life. But yeah, be open to, I'm not gonna say compromise in a lot of different ways, understanding one another, understanding each other's needs, desires, and wants.
And I would also say always lead with your partner's best intentions in mind. So that's what I learned a lot in this relationship. No, anything that he does, I know that it wasn't done with a spiteful intent, that he'd always lead with my best interest in mind. So no matter how I may receive whatever the action was, I know that he didn't intentionally go out of his way to hurt me. If that's what I'm feeling, that it must be a miscommunication somewhere. I need to talk to him about it, because I know that he wouldn't intentionally hurt me, because he always has my best intentions in mind. So,
but that's something that can be a little bit tricky too, right? So he can believe that of me because he trusts me and he knows that I regard him in that way. The truth of the matter is that there are some people who do that. And so for those people that don't have your best intent in mind, like, because your peace is what's most important. I trust him. I know that what if anything was to ever come about, I know that he did not do it with the intention of hurting me. Something had to have happened. And then that comes the understanding part. And with understanding, you can have like a communication. With understanding, you get all things, right? Like, I may not agree with whatever happened or what he said or how he did it, but I understand where it came from. And since I understand, I can regard it in a different way.
So it sounds like, number one, putting the ego away is number one. You got to put them horns up. And then being open to really honest communication, a sense of autonomy, and really not being afraid to navigate the different areas that the relationship may go in is kind of a nice mix of ingredients for making a relationship with two men work.
Yeah. And I say the foundation of all of that is like understanding. Like, each of those pockets, you get deeper when you understand how it affects the relationship. So I understand why you responded that way. I understand what you did. I understand why you woke up that way. Or when I understand when I said this thing that I didn't think was mean or spiteful at all, how your past might have influenced the way that you responded when I said it. And now that I understand it, I can be more aware of how I am to speak going forward. It's not about control. It's more about just understanding and then having the regard for how he feels from me. Because the last thing that I want is anything that I do to make him feel a certain way or to throw his energy off. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
When should somebody be willing to cross that line, and when should they not cross that line of going there with a best friend? Because some people do it and they be like, oh man, I done messed that up. And then sometimes it works.
Yeah, back in 2015, when we first felt that spark or whatever, we knew then that we weren't ready to be together. Although the spark felt good, we felt like, look, we can do this. But no, we really took our time. And we said, like, if it's meant to be, like, we'll eventually be together down the line, but we're not going to force it. We'll just let it organically happen. And I think that's what happened in 2018, the summer, like I was saying, like, he was constantly on my mind. I think that the person will genuinely know, like, one of them would know, like, when it's time. And the other person, if they're feeling the same way, because he said I had to, like, prove it, but he was low-key feeling the same way too. But like, he was like, the feelings had grew really, really strong. And my actions really showed him, like, hey, I really want this to work. Like, this is no games. Like, and we said from the beginning, like, there's no going back from this. Whatever issues we have, whatever problems, whatever comes up, like, we're going to fight through it, because there's no going back. Like, we can't just go back to being friends. So is this something that we really want to do? before we make this commitment, because there's no going back from here, and we both were on board. So
yeah, even in that, I think it's like the honesty piece, just being very clear and like honest with yourself. Like if you want to do like a lot of us men do, right? In certain situations that you just want to enjoy it for the moment, then be honest about that. But know that if you cross this line, going back to being best friends is not going to be it's not going to be as easy. And so you got to be honest with yourself. It's really, I'm not going to say it's close to impossible, but once you cross that line, it's really hard to go back to the friendship level and have like just no remnants of the relationship anymore. So you got to be honest with yourself. Like, if I step into this, there is no time limit, but if I step into this, is it a forever thing? Am I willing to fight through this come what may? Because that's what relationships should be. That's what partners, I don't use the word boyfriends. I like the word partner, because a partner, we're coming together to like figure out how we're going to move forward and everything. So is that what this partnership is going to be? Is this worthy of a partnership? Take into account all of the things you've noticed, all of the things that you've seen, because those things, like I knew with him and he knew with me, those things don't just go away. And so it's more about, can I deal with the things that I know? If you can't deal with the things you know, then be honest with yourself and be like, I like you. You look good. You probably gonna taste good, but you probably gonna feel good. But beyond that, because we won't be able to come together. Like, we've never had an argument. So yeah.
Joseph Beam has a quote, which is, Black men loving each other is a revolutionary act. When it comes down to Black men loving each other, what makes our love so revolutionary?
We are constantly having to like reinvent ourselves. Like, I think on a like daily basis, honestly, like we have to adjust to so much in the world. Love is like the pureness of love is the constant thing that leads through all of it, right? And so when we're able to love each other, like it's the most pure thing, I think, is out there, because it's new. It's always new, and new is pure. Like, babies are pure, new is pure. Love can be pure if you allow it to regenerate with every time that you recreate yourself.
Mm-hmm. I think about when you see two Black men and the love is pure and the happiness is there. It's a great thing to see. You don't see a lot of Black men being vulnerable. You don't see a lot of Black men being totally in touch with who they are, because due to society and our community, we've been taught to, like, to shield those feelings and, not to be expressive or do certain things. But once you see people who are able to fully love each other and they have a partner that fully loves them for who they are, that person is, they're shining bright, like they're happy. Their happiness is radiant, and they're able to be that happiness for other people who they come in contact with. So I think that's why it would be such revolutionary.
It's also really inspiring.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's inspiring to others to see it. I feel like when I have an energy we know is contagious, and so because our love is tangible, I feel like it spreads to others, and it not only lets you know that it's possible, but that it's like it's fun, it's good, it's caring, it's all the things that you could think about, and so it kind of makes you want to like join in. I hope.
I would definitely agree, and you feel good as a person to be able to give that feeling to others. Like, it feels good when people say, "Oh, I see you and Jerrell, and y'all seem so happy. I love watching y'all interact with each other." Like, that feels good. It made me want to even work harder to strengthen our relationship, because I see that other people we may be examples for others, and I always want to do that. Whether it's my students as Black young men, watching me being a gay male and carrying myself a certain way, because I didn't have I like to say Mr. Roper when I was growing up. So to be an example for them, to show the positivity in being a Black gay male and them having that freedom to express themselves, that's what I thrive on, spreading that happiness. Yeah, and it starts at home, because if I wasn't happy at home, I wouldn't be able to go outside and be happy as well. So he provides a good, happy home.